So they're doing a little work on our infield. They're repaving.
All right, look at here, riding on the Michael Schumacher. And it's cool, Vanessa.
Yeah.
I'll take y'all inside in the infield first and show you a few things.
We got to work on bringing more of our Europeans over here so they can see this, you know.
We get fans from about 12 different countries every race.
Oh, do you really?
Mm-hmm. So this is the garage. This is where they work on the cars during the race weekend.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to find.
Good God, it was turbos in that.
Oh, those are jet dryers.
Oh, jet, okay.
For if the track gets wet.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see any of them. I must have painted over them. But when we have a famous hot dog here.
Yep.
And y'all had hot dogs since you've been in America?
Yes.
Yeah.
So ours are a weird color, red. Some people think is weird, but a lot of people really like it.
Mm-hmm.
So the crew guys will mark on the steel beams up there. They'll mark how many hot dogs they eat and have a contest to see who can eat the most hot dogs in a weekend. And then this building here with no windows is the media center.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I work during race weekends. And this is where like all the journalists and TV folks are. This little building is the hot dog stand. It's actually the oldest building on the whole property. So in 1947, when we built the racetrack, they decided they needed to sell some hot dogs and make some money. So they built that the same time they built the racetrack. It used to be a dirt track,
Mm-hmm.
and it was originally designed for motorcycles, like flat track motorcycles. And then we got we had stock cars and sprint cars, which are dirt track racing cars, all raced here early on. But the stock cars put on the best show, and most people came to see them. So we stuck with stock cars ever since. We're the only track that was on NASCAR's original schedule in 1949. So we're the last one. This building here is a hospital, and it's equipped to handle about 6 patients during a race. So if you ever have a crash where there's 6 guys hurt at one time, we can take care of all of them.
That's
This is pit
Krankenhaus.
road.
Yeah.
It's very narrow.
Hospitals, Krankenhaus.
So most pit roads are much wider,
Mm-hmm.
and they don't. We're the only one that bends quite so sharply on pit road. So you see how it's black?
Yes.
They take Coca-Cola and spray it on the ground
Okay.
to make it sticky, and then the tire sticks to that.
To help with the traction getting in through the curve.
Yeah. Well, I should say Pepsi because we're a Pepsi truck.
Whoops. And here we go.
Yeah. So we're the shortest track in all of NASCAR. 0.526 miles. So it's about a kilometer. And there's no other track that uses 2 different kinds of surface. So you see the straightaway is asphalt and the corner is concrete. It's actually that way because the guy that built the track got tired of repaving the track. And the big wide tires that they use on the stock cars starting in the 70s ripped up his racetrack, and he said, I'm not having that, we're putting down concrete. So since he put down concrete, we've only had to replace it twice. So it was a good investment. And obviously the asphalt we change more often.
Here we go.
We're also the only track that has a big curb like this on the inside of the racetrack. So it's pretty common to have rumble strips on a road course, but a big, tall, you feel how tall that curb is. It's unusual to have that on a stock car track. We're the only track that has that. So since you're road racing, you know road racing, there's two ways you can apex the corner here, right? So the one way is to hang way out here like this,
Swing in.
and then just hit it one time. So you hit the curb once, go back out to the wall
Oh, really?
like that. So
Yep.
that's one way to do it. And the other way to do it is to diamond it or double apex. So you come in here shallow, you hit the curb early, come off the curb, and then you hit the curb again on the way out. And drivers will use both lines throughout the race, depending on if they're passing or if they're playing defense, or and then there's sort of the in-between line like that, where you're just on the curb for a long time. So that was about 65. They're doing about 125.
Good God.
So that's about 200 kph at the end of the straightaway for a cup car. And then they do about 80 in the corner. That's the really impressive one. We're very slow compared to them. It still feels pretty fast, I hope.
Yeah, I'm feeling the G's already, you know? Good gracious. Vanessa can't speak.
I can't speak.
This makes me want to say, down, 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 BC powder, come back strong. Down, down, down. This is so cool.
So there's most tracks, they have two lines. So there'd be a high line up here. At Martinsville, the high line is really slow. So you'll never see a car up there where we just were, unless they're getting passed. They always want to be all the way down on the curb. They always, this curb is really important to the driver, that they have control over being down here on the bottom. And then you'll never see a car on the asphalt unless they're in a crash.
Really?
Yeah. I mean,
They're
it's
all
really-
down here on the concrete.
They're all down here on the concrete. There'll be 40 of them down here fighting for position. Drivers give me a hard time. They say that I drive too far away from the wall. They say I'm a wimp. That gives you an idea how close they get. That was what, 5 laps, and my brakes are getting hot. So you can imagine 500 laps, how important the brakes are here. So brakes are usually the biggest thing that the driver has control over in a stock car, because they all have a ton of horsepower. But as a driver, you can really control how fast you get into a corner by
braking.
controlling the brake pedal. So the best guys, they're good at driving sideways when the car's not handling good, and they're good at getting off the corner fast, but what they're really great at is they're great on the brake pedal and controlling the speed of the car with the brake pedal.
Brake and clutch, I mean.
Yeah, clutch, they don't shift.
Oh,
so
really?
the only time they shift is during a restart.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, so you'll
So they'll be in, I'm just going to say, it's not 5th gear?
yeah, they have 4 gears. So if we were in a stock car, we'd be in second gear, coming to a restart. You start in second gear, you hold it, and then you get to this restart zone right here, and then you would pin it up second, third, fourth, and then you would hit on the brake, and then you would ride around in fourth until there was another caution.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So they stay in fourth gear the whole race. So, and that's at all levels. So even if you were to go to South Boston, like a little track where they, on their way up, they're just geared differently, but they're still using 4 gears, and that's it. What kind of questions y'all got? Anything?
Bring them, Torg.
So how many cars drive?
They're limited to 40 car fields, but usually you get about 38. We have a race where 100 cars show up, and we eliminate them through qualifying and then heat races. But the big series, like the big NASCAR guys, there's about 38 teams that go around the country all year. And they can do a pretty good burnout. You see that?
Yes.
Ooh.
That was the one from the spring, that big long one.
Oh, really?
I'll show you a video of that burnout. I got a good video of it.
And is it packed, the stadium?
So these seats starting here, we cover with billboards.
Okay.
Because we make more money selling the billboard
Sponsorship.
as a sponsorship. But we haven't sold out in a few years. But we do pretty well. So this grandstand here does well. And then this grandstand here, the top half does really well. So the only place we really struggle to sell is the very bottom.
Is it because they can't see?
Yeah, they can't see across to the back straightaway. So, and it's really loud right there.
Yeah.
And then we actually just added a thing where you can buy a ticket and stand on top of that building right there. So you see that rail? They can lean up against that rail and watch the race. It's a very